Hello everyone, I'm Gabriel, and in today's video we're going to be doing something that I've always wanted to do in a while. So back in the day, I loved making top 10 or top 5 videos lists. Well, I figured why not do it with movies on this channel. In this video, we're going to be doing my top 5 favorite movie genres. Now there are a lot of very certain, interesting, and special genres of movies to exist, but the ones that I came up with are the ones that are mean to me the most. And I also really enjoy watching these types of movies and these types of genres once in a while. So without further ado, let's get right on to my top 5 favorite movie genres. Coming in at number 5 is one that always interested me a lot when I was younger, and probably the most interesting genre on this list, and that is fantasy. Now, I wish I included sci-fi on this list, which would have been an honorable mention, but I thought that fantasy would go a little bit higher, like right there. Now, when I was a kid, I always loved watching classic Disney films that are related to this genre, such as Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Alice in Wonderland, and others. But others like The Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter are very well known for this genre. Yeah, as well as the books. Whenever I see a movie that has unique special effects like powers and such, it really makes me feel like any of this in real life, and I really enjoy watching these fantasy films once in a while. Although, I don't know if I would consider this genre to be fantastic. Well, it's fantasy in general, but it's certainly one that really should be talking about a lot, and one that a lot of people should watch once in a while. So yeah, fantasy, if you haven't seen a lot of fantasy movies, definitely get your hands on that. Coming in at number 4 is action movies. So action movies are the types of movies that I always want to sit down and watch, seeing the characters running around, fighting crime and bad guys, and even Marvel and DC Comics movies, people with like guns and all that stuff. That's always fun to watch. Some action movies can be over the top and cheesy, but that's what makes this genre even more entertaining. I feel like watching action movies can be a hit or a miss sometimes, but I personally love action films in general no matter what. The Die Hard trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy, the list goes on with some of the most iconic ones on here. Most of the soundtrack in these movies are killer, in my opinion. The Crow is definitely one of them. What I also like about action movies is some of these movies are about revenge, and that's what interested me the most. I think what's really interesting about these main characters getting back at people who were involved in the situation is up my alley. Although these types of movies can be cheesy, I love them for what they are. And I bet most action movies nowadays are just fun to watch, even though they're cheesy. Or they might be bad, who knows. So anyways, that's number 4. Coming in at number 3 is one I know a lot of people are fans of like me, and that is horror movies. Oh yes, I love horror. I always love watching these movies every Halloween season, or whenever I'm bored and all that. And I bet most of you guys like that as well. Slasher movies are my favorite kind of horror movies. I mean, you got the classics like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, and a couple of other films. And of course, The Shining, which is my favorite horror movie of all time. I bet seeing a horror movie in a movie theater will be a really interesting experience if you ask me. Although, I know most horror movies are a bit crappy nowadays, like The Boogeyman, Imaginary, Smile 2, which I don't think has coming out yet, but I think that's gonna be bad. Night Swim and a couple of other ones that came out this year. And horror movies have really good scares, by the way. And it's always fun to watch movies like it's a Halloween party or something. And what's really interesting about me, my experience with horror movies, is that I don't typically get scared watching horror movies, to be honest. And I should have said this over, but when I was younger, I was obsessed with horror movies as a kid. And I always loved talking about horror movies with my stepfather and such. And I'm looking forward to what spooky movies I'll be watching this season for October. So yeah, these movies are definitely going on these lists. Coming in at number 2 is a pretty interesting one, and one that I always love to watch and call them my kind of movies, if you know what I mean. And that would be coming-of-age films. Now, if you were a kid or a teenager, then you might know what this genre is referring to. Watching these movies from my perspective shows how relatable they are. It's always nice seeing people growing up as kids, teens, to adults, going to school, and living life lessons and learning life lessons. Some of my favorites, like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, The Breakfast Club, Call Me By Your Name, Mysterious Skin, and Stand By Me are really good examples. And speaking of Stand By Me, I'm actually thinking about watching that movie after I finish this video. And another thing is that I love watching movies of friends going on adventures and seeing how wholesome everything was all together. Which, I should have mentioned this earlier, but Stand By Me is one of my all-time favorite movies. And I will do a review of that movie soon. Which, there are some films with heavy subject matter that sometimes make me cry, and I definitely will not forget about them. And I think this is one of the most relatable movie genre to anyone who loves movies like I do. And people who are in a relationship with a family member, or have a crush on somebody, or girlfriend or boyfriend, anything like that. It's always a nice time to watch these movies whenever you're bored, or whenever you want to cheer someone up, or something like that. And I love it for that reason. And I can't wait to see what coming of age films are coming next in the future. So anyways, that was number 2. And now, let's get on to my number 1 favorite genre movie ever. And now, we are finally on to number 1. So here we go. The number 1 best movie genre, in my opinion, is comedy. Oh boy. Comedies are always right up my alley. Whenever I want to have a good laugh or a joke around, I always like to watch movies that are funny and have funny jokes for that reason. Superbad, The Big Lebowski, Home Alone. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love a good comedy? Sure, there are a lot of bad ones and ones that are stupid, but that's what I also find them very entertaining. Especially watching with friends if you want to have a good laugh. Some movies also made me laugh, like I'm on the floor nearly dying of laughter, or rolling on the floor at least. I could go on for hours about this genre, but of course I'm not going to do that in this video, of course. So comedy is my all-time favorite movie genre, and that's why I love it so much. So yeah. Alright you guys, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell notification, comment, like, etc. And stay tuned for more videos coming out in the future. I'm Gabriel, signing off.